Minister to attend for a short whatever.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremony. I acknowledge our distinguished Foreign Minister, the Honorable Charles Fernandez, Ambassador Taha and his wife, and also our Honorary Consul, Marlene, and certainly our distinguished organizer, Mr. Alex Irani, other organizing members of this conference, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, global citizens, good afternoon. It's certainly a pleasure to be here this afternoon in Dubai once again, even though the weather is not the best today, but again, Dubai is a great place to be. And I have to say that in Antigua and Barbuda, we admire the development here in Dubai in many ways. And we're hoping that we could replicate some of the successes here in Dubai with the help of a number of investors here, including those of you who are present at this forum. But let me also extend greetings on behalf of the government and people of Antigua and Barbuda, and also to thank the organizers for putting together this investor forum. Certainly very important in terms of us attracting additional investments to our country. We believe strongly that in order to ensure that there is robust growth and development in our country, that we must continue to increase trade and to attract significant investments. Now, you'd have seen the promotional video, which would have given you some information about Antigua and Barbuda, to include the climate, the physical infrastructure, and I believe you'll conclude that Antigua and Barbuda easily is one of the best tourism and investment destinations in the world. And I would add here too that the country has been voted by several publications as one of the finest tourism and investment destinations in the Caribbean. So clearly, Antigua and Barbuda would provide you with the necessary infrastructure to support your investment in a safe and secured environment. In fact, as global citizens, we all have aspirations for a good life. We have aspirations for a good life that is characterized by wealth, good health, to operate in an environment of peace and stability, and certainly to have leisure. Now, clearly, there are many countries that are successful but may have certain deficiencies. Some countries may be wealthy but may not necessarily have the best climate. Some may operate in an area of instability. However, Antigua and Barbuda is operating within a zone of peace within the Caribbean, and it's an area that is easily one of the most stable areas in the world. And in terms of our natural attributes, our climate, it's one of the best climates that you could find anywhere in the world. There are no extreme temperatures, and the prevailing winds there allow for sailing. You can literally sea bathe practically every day of the year, barring sometimes we have cyclones, but not very often. So again, a very welcoming environment and climate that you could enjoy all year round and to enjoy a good standard of living. Now, in terms of the physical infrastructure of the country, as indicated in the video, we have an international airport in which there are air links to the major capitals of the world, to include the United Kingdom, the US, Canada, and we also have a well-developed property rights system in Antigua and Barbuda. In fact, our jurisprudence is based on the British jurisprudence. We have investor protection programs. We also have double taxation treaties with several countries, including the United Kingdom. So again, we have a well-developed infrastructure to facilitate investments. In fact, I would say that Antigua and Barbuda has many attributes, attributes that will contribute towards a standard of living that is second to none. We have beautiful climate. We have the supporting infrastructure in terms of the airport, the seaport, even in terms of healthcare and education. We have the Mount St. John Hospital, which is one of the finest within the region, and we continue to develop that facility to make sure that we could offer our people, both locals and visitors alike, with the opportunity for first world standards of healthcare. And we're now in the process of establishing the University of Antigua and Barbuda. So clearly, the social infrastructure is there, the physical infrastructure is there. We have the climate to support a good standard of living. What we are really deficient in is the capital. And that is why we are here today, to encourage you to invest in our country, to show you that there are opportunities to be exploited. There are many underexploited opportunities, and in some instances, unexploited opportunities. And what is required is a capital to develop those areas. Now, our primary area of interest is the area of tourism and financial services. Tourism, we have been competing in tourism globally for several decades and have been able to hold our own in that particular sector. Presently, we have about 3,500 rooms, and it is the goal of my government to double the room count within the next 5 years to take it from 3,500 to about 7,000 rooms. The demand is there for the product, but the limiting factor is attracting the investments to build the rooms in order to support the increase in airlift. And clearly, we need more rooms, we need more investments, and we have the infrastructure to support that type of investment in the tourism sector. One of the facilities that we have recently embarked upon is an economic citizenship program, one in which you can invest in the country and become a citizen of the country. And I want to make it clear that our citizenship program is based on attracting high net worth individuals, individuals who can make a difference, a positive difference in the lives of the people of Antigua and Barbuda, and individuals who evidently will be able to continue to grow their wealth or preserve their wealth for that matter. And real estate is one of the best areas of investments in the country, in that real estate prices have been extremely stable for many decades. In fact, we have not had any situation in which there has been a reduction in real estate prices. In fact, over the years, over the centuries, we've seen a constant increase in real estate prices. So it is one of the most secured ways of actually preserving your wealth or growing your wealth. In fact, we have estimated that real estate in the country today is undervalued by about 30%. So should you embark on, let's say, a second home in Antigua and Barbuda, a vacation home, or if you wish to pursue a tourism investment property, we can guarantee you that after construction of such a property that you will have at least a 30% appreciation in value. And we have no inheritance taxes. In fact, invariably, we waive all taxes for investors, including corporation taxes, up to 25 years, depending on the size of the investment. We also allow for the duty-free importation of all building material for the project and capital equipment. And individuals who become economic citizens in Antigua and Barbuda, they're actually exempt from the payment of personal income tax. And it doesn't matter where your income emanates from. If it's locally or if it's internationally, your income is actually exempt from the payment of personal income tax. So in essence, your gross income is net income. And it also provides a tax shield in many instances, especially where there's a double taxation treaty in which you can literally, let's say, manage your tax liability or keep your tax liability to a minimum. And becoming a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda as well is good, not only that you will enjoy the physical attributes of the country, but our people are very friendly, very warm, very embracing. In fact, Antigua and Barbuda is perhaps one of the most open economies in the Caribbean. We have a multicultural society. We consider Antigua and Barbuda to be a melting pot of different cultures. We have many individuals from the Middle East living there, individuals from North America, Europe, Asia. So it is truly a melting pot. And today, in excess of 50% of our country's population are comprised of immigrants, just as the case here in Dubai. But we have a situation in which our people have embraced immigrants in a real way so that they feel like belongers, not non-belongers. And that is one of the true attributes as well of Antigua and Barbuda, in that upon becoming a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, or even a resident for that matter, you will be totally embraced by the people of Antigua and Barbuda. We also have a residency program as well, and that residency program, for a small fee of $20,000 US, you can enjoy residency in the country. The citizenship program, on the other hand, there are actually three pathways to become a citizen. The first pathway is a contribution of $200,000 US to a national development fund, and the supporting fees of $50,000 US, processing fees of $50,000 US for a family of four. In addition, you can become a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda by investing in real estate valued at least $400,000 United States dollars. And the third area is as an investor, investing at least $1.5 million US dollars in a project. So those are the three pathways, and our program is a well-managed program. It is rated as one of the best investments, citizenship by investment program in the world. In fact, I understand we are now ranked within the top 5 in the world. Would have surpassed many of our Caribbean competitors. And we are aware too that some of our Caribbean competitors have had some issues with their program. And we have been very, very assertive in terms of the management of our program to maintain the integrity of the program, so that we have a number of safeguards in place. For example, it is the cabinet collectively that is responsible for our CIP program and not a single individual. In addition, we have certain safeguards in place in terms of our due diligence process. In fact, I can assure you there are at least 2 levels of due diligence that are conducted to make sure that we attract only the best, the creme de la creme of investors to our country. And the program generally is well administered and well respected throughout the region and internationally. So you can be assured that becoming a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, the possibility of any, I'd say, unlikely or mismanagement or corrupt practices emanating from the program is unlikely, because of our determination to ensure that we have a well-regulated program. And overall, we believe in good governance. We believe that good governance makes good business. And we continue to make sure that we run a very transparent government. In fact, we have set a very impressive vision of transforming Antigua and Barbuda into an economic powerhouse in the Caribbean. And I know that there are many who felt that perhaps it would have been an impossible task, but I can assure you that we are well on our way. Within our first few months of attaining the governance of the country, we have actually had in excess of $3 billion United States dollars in investment pledges, and many of those projects will commence later this year, early next year, and we continue to get serious interest in the development of the country. Also, we've been utilizing our creativity as a government to exploit other opportunities. For example, we recently got the government of Venezuela to agree to make available to Antigua and Barbuda and other countries within the OICS an oil field for us to develop, so that in essence we could become, let's say, an oil-producing country without having oil. I mean, these are some of the creative things that my government is actually doing in order to ensure that we increase revenues, ensure that we provide opportunities for our people, and in essence to make Antigua and Barbuda a more significant player globally. Just yesterday we closed a deal in which we acquired the lone petrol distribution facility on the island, and again, you know, we were able to engineer it in such a way in which the people of Antigua and Barbuda will benefit immensely. So we also believe in empowering our people, and we also believe in having an egalitarian government to uplift all the people and to ensure that we have a unified nation, and one in which we'll respect all the people, all residents, all citizens, and to ensure that we work collectively for the advancement of the country. So I want to take this opportunity today to invite you to become a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, or resident if you so desire, and also to invest in our country. I also take this opportunity to assure you that in terms of the infrastructure that we have in place and the possibility for profits, that it will easily be one of the best investments you would have made, and that you can be assured that Antigua and Barbuda will provide you the opportunity to have an integrated investment product, one in which you could become a citizen, at the same time investing in different sectors of the economy, to include real estate, one in which we could provide you with the opportunity for your own wealth management, possibly extending a license for you to own an offshore bank so you can preside over your own personal wealth management. If you're the owner of a yacht or a private plane, we can also provide you with the opportunity to register your yacht locally as part of our international merchant shipping registry. And incidentally, we have the second largest merchant shipping business in the Caribbean, and we are within the top 10 in the world in terms of merchant shipping. So again, small island, but with big possibilities, and we require additional investments. We need people like you to partner with us in order to achieve that very lofty objective of transforming Antigua and Barbuda into an economic powerhouse. So again, we invite you to paradise, and I thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your comprehensive word. I kindly invite now Honorable Mr. Charles Fernandez for...
Thank you, Ambassador Taha, Honorary Consul Madeleine, Mr. Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Honorable Gaston Browne. Not much to say after the Prime Minister has said so much about Antigua and Barbuda. Just to reiterate that it's a small island with a lot of possibilities, and we are looking forward to investments that will enrich the people of Antigua and Barbuda. And at the same time, I think it will is safe to say that, as the Prime Minister pointed out, it's a safe investment for anyone at this point in time. Within the last 9 months of which our government has come to office, we have managed to curtail crime, which is very important, and I think the statistics show that we have reduced crime by about 50%. As you know, it's important to have a safe environment as a second home and as an investment. So crime is down. The confidence of the people and the business community is at a very high level. So everything is in place. We have embarked on a very ambitious program in terms of our infrastructure, our road program, and our schools. And I think that definitely Antigua is on the move. As you know also, Antigua is small and independent. But we just won a case against the United States government at the WTO, and which is worth over 150 million US. We are presently looking to negotiate a settlement. But it goes to show that Antigua is very independent and prepared to stand up for what it believes in. So again, we're a small island. We have a lot of potential, as the Prime Minister said. And I want to thank you all for coming here this afternoon. And I can assure you that once you come to Antigua, you'll fall in love with it, whether or not you invest in it. But even more so, if you invest in it, it will be a worthwhile investment that will pay dividends for you in the foreseeable future. Once again, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank you all also for coming here despite the bad weather, and this shows the commitment and the eagerness. I will leave the questions or open discussion for anybody who wants to raise any question to start negotiation on different matters. And
Hello, my name is Arif Hafiz. I have a business group over here. I am from the United States, but we have a lot of business in Africa and part of Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, Moscow. We operate primarily airport duty-free shops in several airports and seaports. Also, we have hotels, oil and gas, several investments portfolios. What I want to know is what kind of banks operate in Antigua. And I was actually in Guatemala just a month, 2.5 months ago. It's not so far away from Antigua. So the language spoken there is English, or is English? Yeah, so okay. Banks, you have international banks operating there. And airport, how big is the airport? And I'll be interested in pursuing the duty-free options.
Thank you very much for your questions. And just to confirm that Antigua and Barbuda is an English-speaking nation, actually a former colony of the United Kingdom. And we became independent in 1981, November 1st, 1981. So we are a sovereign, independent nation. Insofar as the banks are concerned, we have two regulatory regimes. We have an offshore financial services sector that is governed by the Financial Service Regulatory Commission, and that covers our offshore banks. Now, those banks are precluded from doing business onshore on island. And we also have the domestic banks, which include at least 3 international banks. We have Bank of Nova Scotia, CIBC, as well as our Royal Bank, RBTT, Royal Bank. So, and by the way, those banks have been on the island for at least 150 years, at least in the case of Scotia and the Royal Bank of Canada. So they are well established within the island, within the sector. And we also have several other indigenous banking institutions to include ECAB, ABIB, Antigua Commercial Bank, and CUB, which is Caribbean Union Bank. So we have a very sophisticated and well-developed banking system. In fact, there's some who believe that we are overbanked, and steps are now being taken to at least consolidate some of the domestic banks to make them stronger. The airport, we are just about to conclude the construction of our new terminal, and it is actually scheduled to open in June of this year, no later than, I'd say, mid-July. It's one of the most modern airports within the Caribbean today with jet bridges. Very modern facility, and the security systems there are actually better than in many developed countries. And I'm not quite sure of the exact size of it in terms of the amount of square meters, but it is definitely reasonably large for the island. My best guess is probably in excess of 100 square meters. 100,000 square meters, sorry. And we have a number of shops. I know we have at least 40 shops of the oil field with an investor, which can create opportunities to the country of Venezuela. Antigua and Barbuda as well will get some benefit there, and the investor will be able to turn a good return there. And let me add here too that our airport can also accommodate a 380 Airbus. In fact, Concorde, when it used to operate, landed there on several occasions. So it's an international airport by any standard. Yeah.
What facility you get for manufacturing over there? Manufacturing in England.
Sorry, if there's...
Manufacturing.
A very small scale. That is certainly an unexploited area of manufacturing. We happen to import 90% of what we consume, which is not really good. Even agriculture and fisheries, those are good areas. In fact, the country is really a tri-island state, 3-island state, in that there's also a small country which is only a half a square mile, uninhabited, by the name of Redonda. So it makes Antigua and Barbuda really an archipelago which means that we have a relatively large exclusive zone or economic zone. It's in excess of 200 nautical miles, and potentially we could harvest about 10,000 tons of fish and fish products, but we're only harvesting probably about 2,000 tons, which cannot even satisfy domestic consumption. So that is an underexploited area. Even the area of agriculture, poultry. In fact, we import at least. Decades ago, a few centuries ago, we exported sugar to Britain. But we primarily are a service industry. Tourism contributes about 70% of GDP. And we have financial services. One of the areas that we had actually grown exponentially is the gaming sector. But we've had some issues in the United States in that they have this archaic legislation that precludes remote gambling, and they have actually incriminated a number of the operators. Now, remote gambling is not illegal in our country. It is not illegal in most countries, but it happens to be illegal in the United States. And I have suspect that they're protecting their own, let's say, their own gaming operators. So we've had to take the issue to the World Trade Organization, and as the minister indicated during his presentation, we won the case at the WTO, and we got an award of $23 million per year. Now we have the right actually to, I don't know if I should say pirate, because it's really legitimate in the sense that it's sanctioned by the World Trade Organization, but we have a right to duplicate U.S. Patents and copyrights to the tune of $23 million per year. But we had given the U.S. some time to settle this issue, and well, we're a new government. They are showing some goodwill here in that they have actually established a negotiating committee. But if, perchance, they refuse to settle and to settle on a timely basis, that in itself could probably become an opportunity for someone to exploit. We do. In terms of cruise tourists, we have about 750,000 annually. I'd say within 24 months, we will hit 1 million. And overnight tourists, we have about 250,000 overnight tourists. So it's a sector that is growing. And in terms of investments, we've had some really interesting ones. I said to you, we've had in excess of $3 billion in investment pledges. You probably may have heard of Robert De Niro, the international film actor, film star. He has partnered with James Packer, who is an Australian billionaire, to do a major project, a $250 million project on Barbuda, our sister island. That was recently approved by the people of Barbuda, and construction will commence very shortly. In addition, we have a Chinese group by the name of Yeed Investment. They just recently acquired $70 million worth of real estate on the island for development, and they expect to spend about $2 billion over a period of 10 years. And there are several other projects. In fact, we seem to be getting more projects now than the availability of land to support the availability of land may not be able to support all those projects. But however, we have Barbuda, which is underexploited. Barbuda has only 1,500 or 1,700 residents, and the island is 62 square miles. So it is actually littered with a lot of beaches, undeveloped beaches, and we're now emphasizing the development of Barbuda. And by the way, pink sand beaches. The beaches in Antigua and Barbuda have been voted among the best in the world, and we have at least 365 on Antigua. Barbuda has a few hundred beaches as well, or a couple hundred beaches minimum. We have, in fact, the same De Niro property. There was a property there before by the name of K Club, and the late Princess Diana, she from time to time used to use it as one of her favorite getaways. So again, it has some celebrity status. Any further questions?
I wonder if there is any other questions before we end up. unfortunately, for the short of time, we couldn't make a CD for, so we just want to know whoever is interested to have a CD for this presentation for Antigua and Barbuda, we will be delighted to furnish them. And yeah, yes. Exactly, exactly. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you, Your Excellencies.